Hello children, welcome to the YouTube channel of Welkin National School, Vasai East. This is Mamata Biju, your subject teacher of SST. Today I will be teaching for standard 6th, that is history, chapter number 7, India during the Maurya period. Now, the Greek Emperor Alexander's invasion 7.1. Alexander the Greek Emperor invaded India's northwestern frontier in 326 BCE. Crossing the Indus Sindhu River, he reached Takshila. On the way, he met the forceful opposition from the local Indian kings. He defeated them all and successfully reached the Punjab. However, in this invasion, his army had to suffer severe hardship. The soldiers were eager to go back home. They rebelled against Alexander and he was forced to turn back. He therefore appointed Greek officers to administer the conquered territories. They were called satraps. They started his return journey but died on the way back in 323 BCE. Babylon. Today Babylon is in Iraq. Now in this, see, they have given the Emperor Alexander photo. They have given the Emperor Alexander photo, and in this paragraph they have explained that Alexander, a Greek emperor, he entered India's northwestern frontier in 326 BCE. Now after crossing the Indus River, he reached Takshila and he met an opposition from local Indian kings. He battled with them and successfully reached the Punjab. But in this period, his army had to suffer a lot and they were eager to go back. And he revolted against Alexander and was forced to turn back. And that is why he appointed Greek officers to administer the conquered territories, and they were known as satraps. Now, while returning back, he died over there in 323 BCE at Babylon, and now today the Babylon is in Iraq. Let's move further. Alexander campaign. Alexander campaign led to an increase in the trade between India and the Western world. The historian who accompanied Alexander introduced India to the Western world through their writings. Greek sculpture influenced Indian art, given rise to the Gandhara school of arts. The Greek king minted characteristic coins. On one side, the coin had a picture of the king who had minted the coin, and on the other side, a picture of a Greek god. The name of the king was also written on the coin. Alexander's coins were of the same type. See, they have given the picture of Alexander's silver coin both sides. Later, Indian kings also started minting similar coins. Now, over here in this Alexander campaign, they have said that in this campaign, there was increase in the trade between India and the Western world. The historian who accompanied Alexander, the historian, the historian people who accompanied Alexander, he introduced India to the Western world for their writings. Now Greek sculpture gave rise to the Gandhara school of arts, and they minted different coins. On one side the picture of the king, and the other side of the coin is the picture of the Greek god, and the name of the king was also written on the coin. The Maurya Empire, Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya founded the Maurya Empire. People were tired of the tyrannical rule of Nanda, king of the Magadha. Dhananda and Chandragupta Maurya brought it to an end and established his own rule in Magadha around 325 BCE. He won Avanti and Saurashtra and began to extend the boundaries of his empire. After Alexander's death, a struggle for power began among the satraps he had appointed. Seleucus Nicator was Alexander's general. He became the king of Babylon after Alexander's death. He invaded the northwest frontier region of India and the Punjab. Chandragupta Maurya successfully resisted his aggression. The defeat of Seleucus Nicator led to the incursion of the northwest region of Kabul, Kandahar, and Herat in the Maurya Empire. Now, in this Chandragupta Maurya paragraph, they have explained that the Maurya Empire was founded by Chandragupta Maurya. Now, people were not happy with the rules of the Nanda king of Magadha, then Dhananda. Then Chandragupta Maurya he ended this. And established his own rule in Magadha in 325 BCE. He extended his boundaries of empire. Then, after Alexander's death, Seleucus Nicator was Alexander's general. He became the king of Babylon. Then he entered the northwest frontier region of India and Punjab. Now, his book Indica is an important source of India during the Maurya period, and then Sudarshan drawn near Junagadh in Gujarat state is an inspiration. Megasthenes Seleucus Nicator ambassador stayed back at Chandragupta Maurya's court. His book Indica is an important source for the study of India during the Maurya period. That I have explained in the paragraph. Then there is an inscription stating that Emperor Chandragupta Maurya had built a dam called Sudarshan near Junagadh in Gujarat state. Emperor Ashoka. After Chandragupta renounced the throne, he was succeeded by his son Bindusara. After Bindusara's death, his son Ashoka succeeded to the throne in 273 BCE. Ashoka had been appointed the governor of Takshila and Ujjain before he came to the throne. As the governor, he had successfully crushed the revolt at Takshila. After becoming the emperor of Magadha, he launched a campaign against the state of Kalinga. Then Kalinga occupied the region of today's Odisha state. Emperor Ashoka conquered Kalinga. Ashoka's empire extended from Afghanistan in the northwest and Nepal in the north to Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Saurashtra in the west. Now, over here in Emperor Ashoka paragraph, they have explained that after Bindusara's death, his son Ashoka got a good success in the throne. Means throne means a ceremonial chair for a sovereign. In 273 BCE, he was appointed the governor of Takshila and Ujjain before the throne. He was very much successful in the revolt at Takshila. He launched the campaign against the state of Kalinga. Then he conquered Kalinga. Then his empire extended from that we have read, the empire got extended from Afghanistan in the northwest and Nepal in the north to Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Saurashtra in the west. The Kalinga War. Ashoka was deeply moved by the bloodshed of the Kalinga War. He decided never to wage a war again. He came to believe that truth, non-violence, compassion and forgiveness were the important values. Ashoka wanted to spread these teaching among the common people, and therefore he had a pillar edicts and stone inscription engraved throughout his kingdom. These writings are in the Brahmi script. In this inscription, he is referred to as Devanapiya Piyadashi. That means beloved of gods, and he who look on with affection. Another inscription states that 8 years after he ascended the throne, he made the conquest of Kalinga and had a change of heart on seeing the devastation it caused. An inscription of Emperor Ashoka at Delhi Podha Delhi Tobda shows that he had put strict restrictions on the hunting of bats, monkeys, rhinoceros, and on hunting of and on setting fire to forest. See, they have given this Emperor Ashoka's photograph. They have given the picture of Emperor Ashoka's photograph. Now, in Kalinga war paragraph, they have explained that in this war, Ashoka was fully bloodshedded, means he was fully in the bloodbath. So, he decided never to wage a war again. So, he believed in truth, non-violence, and compassion, and forgiving others was his important value. He spread this teaching among the common people. So he spread through the pillar edicts, then stone inscription engraved in his kingdom. These all writings were in the Brahmi script, and he is referred to as Devanapiya Piyadashi. That means the beloved of the gods. So his inscriptions at Delhi Tobda shows that he had put strict restrictions on the hunting of bats. Then he had put strict restrictions on monkeys, then rhinoceros, and on setting fires to the forest. Emperor Ashoka work for the spread of religion. Ashoka had embraced Buddhism. He had convened the third religion council on Buddhism of Patliputra. Ashoka sent his son Mahendra and daughter Sangamitra to Sri Lanka for the spread of Buddhism. He also sent Buddha bhikkhus to West Asia and Central Asia for spreading Buddhism. He also built many stupas and viharas. Now over here in this paragraph they have said that they have explained about the work of Emperor Ashoka. Now Emperor Ashoka embraced Buddhism. He was much more follower of Buddhism. He convened the third religion council on Buddhism at Patliputra. Then he sent his son Mahendra and daughter Sangamitra to the Sri Lanka to spread Buddhism. Now he sent Buddha bhikkhus to the West Asia and Central Asia to spread Buddhism. Public welfare activities. Emperor Ashoka laid stress on the creation of facilities for the welfare of the people. For example, he made provision for free medicines and medical treatment for people as well as for animals. He built many roads and planted trees for shade on both sides of the road. He dug wells and built dharmashalas. Now, in the public welfare, they have explained that he did lot of work. He worked a lot for the people's welfare, like he made facilities to the people, which included that he made provision for free medicines. He gave free medicines, then free medical treatment for the people as well as for the animal. Now he built roads and plants, trees for the shade, and he dug wells and built dharmashalas. Administration during the Maurya period. Patliputra was the capital of Maurya Empire. For the sake of administrative convenience, the empire was divided into four regions, each with its own capital. Now, eastern region Toshali, that is Odisha, then western region Ujjaini, that is Madhya Pradesh, then southern region Suvarnagiri, Kanakgiri in Karnataka, then north region, that is Takshila, that is Pakistan. There was a council of ministers which advised the king in matters of administration. There were many officers working at different levels. There was an efficient intelligence services which kept an eye on the administration and on the movement of enemies. Now over here in the administration they have explained that Maurya Empire's capital was Patliputra. For the proper administration, he divided into four regions in each of his own capital. The names which I have read, these are all the capital: eastern region, then western region, then southern region and northern region. For the matters of administration, and there were council of ministers to be advised. Then officers were the king at different levels, and special intelligence services were kept to keep an eye on the administration. Life of the people during the Maurya period. During the Maurya period, agricultural production had great importance. Trade and other occupation had also prospered well. There were many occupations like carving and engraving on ivory, weaving and dyeing clothes, and metalwork. Black glazed pottery was also produced. Ship buildings was carried out on a large scale. In metalwork, the technology of making articles of other metals as well as those of iron had developed. Different festivals and functions were celebrated in village and town. Dance and music concerts were a part of the entertainment. Wrestling bouts and chariot races were popular, and so were board games and chess. Chess was called Ashtapad. Now over here in this paragraph they have explained that the life of the people during the Maurya period was agricultural and production. Trade was prospered. Apart from this, there were other occupations like carving, engraving on ivory, then weaving and dyeing clothes, then metalwork. There was a high production. There was a very much high production and was highly developed. Now different festivals were to be that time were celebrated in villages and town. Dances and music concerts were also the part of the entertainment. Then wrestling bouts and chariot were popular, and they were also playing the chess. And that now this time we say, now in today's generation we say it as chess game, but before in the ancient time chess was called what? Ashtapad. Then art and literature. During the period of Emperor Ashoka, the art of the rock cut sculpture was promoted. The pillar erected by Ashoka was excellent specimen of Indian sculpture. There are excellent carving of animals like lion, elephant, bulls on these pillars. The chakra or wheel on the Ashoka pillar at Sarnath has a place of honor on the Indian national flag. The pillar has lion on all four sides, but only 3 are visible from the front. This is the official seal of the government of India. The cave sculpture at Barba Hills carved during the period of Ashoka are well known. These caves are in Bihar. They are the oldest cave sculptures in India. After the death of Emperor Ashoka, the Maurya Empire became to decline. After the Mauryas, many new states and some empires also emerged in India. The Maurya Empire was the largest empire in the ancient India. In the next chapter, we shall discuss the political and cultural happenings in the post-Maurya period. Now in art and literature. Now in art and literature paragraph, they have explained that in the Emperor Ashoka period, there was the rock cut sculpture was very famous, and in those sculptures, the pillars were erected by the Ashokas, and there was an excellent specimens of the Indian sculptures. Now the excellent carving was done. The carving was based on the pictures of the animals like lion, then elephant, then bulls on these pillars. Then the chakra and the wheel on the Ashoka pillar at Sarnath has a place. Okay. Now for the Indian flag, the pillar has a lion on four sides. Now I'll show you the picture. Now this is the lion capital. Means this is the pillar. It has a lion's animal that is called lion on all four sides. Actually this is on all four sides. The back side lion is not to be seen because only front three sides are visible. Okay, and this is an official seal of the government of India. And the cave sculptures at the Barber Hills were carved during the period of Ashoka, and these caves are in now Bihar, and they are very old cave sculptures in India. Then this is the pillar. This is the carving cave at Barbara. Okay. Now after the death of Emperor Ashoka, this Maurya period began to decline, and then after the Maurya, many states, many small states got emerged in India, and the Maurya Empire was the largest. It was meant as the largest empire in the ancient India. Okay, this was the largest empire in the ancient India. So students, we have completed this chapter. Hope you all have understood this chapter. Bye students, take care and have a nice day.